I met you 30 years ago in the Florida Keys fishing in the tarpon tournament, and we were off the deep end then, and for sure over here at the Jägermeister workbench, we're off the deep end now. But speaking of off the deep end, swordfish are certainly off the deep end. So Randy, tell me, you know, not just the Keys, but in Florida, what are the general things, rules of thought that we should have?
You know, when it comes to sword fishing, it's really kind of a specialized species. You know, not everybody likes to do it.
Right.
But the people that like to go sword fishing, they're fanatics about it. They're into it. They have all the gear. They make the bait. They make their rigs. They really put the time in going and learning. And, you know, it's the basic rules never change. I mean, you know, presentation, having a good bait. For example, this is a daytime bait, and it's
now. Why does this make this a daytime bait over a bait that you would use at night? You wouldn't use this bait at night?
You probably catch a shark on it.
Oh, okay. So why is that?
Because
tell me why.
At night you're drifting,
right?
And during the daytime you're driving the boat into the current. You're almost trolling, because depending on your current, you can't drift when you're 1,800 feet down. Right. You've got to stay into the current, so you're constantly on the wheel. It takes somebody on the wheel, it takes somebody on the rod, and you know, it's a combination of things to make it work, because right. You know, as you saw when we did it, you've got to keep that line straight up and down, and the boat's facing forward into the current, and your line appears to be behind you. Well, it's not, it's in front of the boat. So it takes a lot to keep straight up and down, and you're trolling. That's why this has a skirt on it, and when it's down near the bottom, it's trolling. I mean, it looks like a trolled bait.
All right, I have a question for you. Now, Jimbo said in his report that at nighttime you're going to have a spread of baits. It could be as the depths of 50 to 400 feet.
Correct.
What are you starting at, and why do you have 4 at night and only 1 in the day?
Well, because you're 1,500 feet down, it's hard to manage. Like I said, the boat's moving. So to try to do 2 rods down that deep, you know, wave catches you, you get sideways, you know, it's hard to go in a straight line. Some guys do. There are guys that have figured out how to do 2 rods at a time. But the night fishing, you can have 4 or 6 rods. You're staggering your baits 50, 150, 200 feet. You have them on a balloon, you know, 300 feet away from the boat, 200 feet away from the boat. So all of your rods you can fish kind of without getting tangled. Mm-hmm. And a squid's probably the preferred bait, or a live blue runner. Okay. Now, live blue runner's not going to work too good going down 1,800 feet.
Well, being that you brought up baits, what are the typical baits you'd use?
Any strip bait during the day, something that's going to smell, something that's going to give off an odor, because it's not so much the appearance of what it looks like as much as the smell down that deep.
So it could be a dolphin belly, bonita belly. Didn't you tell me one time you like barracuda?
Barracuda strips are great because they can eat it and eat it and eat it and hit it, and it doesn't come off.
Okay, now nighttime, primarily squid with a light.
Squid with a light, always a light. I love lights. I love strobe,
even daytime
flashing.
Light?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The nighttime live blue runners, especially South Florida, has always been my favorite bait to use a live blue runner. Up the coast, I know they're bigger on squid being the preferred bait. So I always put out 2 squid and 4 runners if I'm doing something. I'll mix it up to make sure that, you know, I'm not missing out on something, because they're gonna they like pinfish one day, like mullet one day.
I gotta know, we got red leader here. Is there something significance to that? They say at night, I mean, that deep, they can't see color. So why do we have red?
You know, it's actually, this is a piece of fluorocarbon. I fish a short piece of fluoro, and you see the swivel.
Right.
And I like for the bait to stay true. I don't like it to spin. And that's just something that I do. I think the red at night just kind of blends and you can't see it, or in the dark. And everybody has their things that they believe in. And I can't say it doesn't work, because I've won a few swordfish tournaments with it.
All right, so give me some secret number. If I wanted to catch a swordfish, what number can you give me a number?
305. 394-2667.
Oh, that's the number to go catch a swordfish.
Exactly.
I love it.